do here?
You know what? This is just like a breath of fresh air. I'm not kidding. I think it's been day 5, day 6. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest. But it's just everyone's in it for the right reason. Everyone's in it. You have great energy. You have great people. And at the end of the day, everyone's putting aside their agendas and doing what's best for the team. And let me tell you, it is refreshing and everyone's excited to be here.
What happens when the most hyped rookie in WNBA history becomes the most targeted player on the court? Night after night? Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the league with buzz, she entered as a phenomenon. Her college legacy, her viral highlight reels, and her transformative presence were supposed to elevate the league. But almost instantly, that spotlight became a heat lamp. Opposing players weren't just playing hard. They were hitting harder, talking louder, and taking shots that crossed the line from competitive to personal.
She needs an enforcer. She needs a brute that will wreck people if they wreck her.
And the numbers don't lie. 17% of all flagrant fouls in the entire WNBA last season were committed against just one player, Caitlin Clark. Think about that. One rookie, accounting for nearly 1/5 of the league's most dangerous fouls. That's not a coincidence. That's a campaign. And it didn't take long for fans, analysts, and even former players to notice that Clark wasn't just facing tough defense. She was being hunted. But the Indiana Fever saw everything. And their answer to this onslaught wasn't a complaint. It was a counterstrike.
Sometimes you need one of those players on your team. You need one of those enforcers. Every good player, by the way. Every good player, every good team that is a super duper star. Most of the time have enforcer type players.
From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped into the WNBA, the energy shifted. Crowds packed arenas, broadcasters ramped up coverage, and merchandise sales exploded. But while the headlines celebrated her stardom, defenders across the league had a different reaction. Target acquired. What was supposed to be a celebration of skill quickly transformed into a gauntlet of body checks, elbows, and blindside hits. Every game felt like a test of endurance rather than talent. And the worst part? The referees often swallowed their whistles.
So there's a hot topic going on right now. Caitlin Clark says she got cheap shotted against the sky. I mean, throughout the season, she's been getting beat up. Hard screens, elbows, knocked down.
The cheap shots weren't subtle. Kennedy Carter's viral shoulder check, Angel Reese's relentless bodying, screens that felt more like football tackles. What should have been ordinary plays turned into statements. You don't belong here. But it wasn't just physical, it was strategic. Teams weren't just trying to win. They were trying to intimidate, unsettle, and silence the rising star of the league. And yet Clark kept showing up, game after game, bruised but unbroken.
Clark! Hammer!
Even her own teammates and coaching staff struggled to shield her from the storm. With every hard foul that went uncalled, it became clear the WNBA wasn't going to protect its new icon. If anything was going to change, it would have to come from within the Fever organization. And deep inside Indiana's locker room, the realization set in. Their rookie needed more than support. She needed a shield.
That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
Indiana's front office didn't waste time making noise. They didn't go public with complaints or release angry statements. Instead, they picked up the phone. Behind closed doors, the team's leadership began crafting something radical, not just a stronger roster, but a statement. If the league wouldn't protect Caitlin Clark, the Fever would build a force that could. This wasn't just about adding scorers or defenders. It was about finding warriors.
Like, she needs an enforcer, and if it ain't gonna be me, Michelle Rappaport, like, where is Charlize Oakley? Doesn't her team have like a Zavaria McDaniels or a Rakisha Mahorn? She needs like a goon on her team, because when your star player that's bringing so much money, so much attention to the league, and it's a collective, it's a bunch of them, it's been brewing.
They weren't just assembling talent. They were assembling an identity. The Fever's offseason wasn't about one big-name signing. It was a calculated move to alter the balance of power. The plan? Build a team with grit, with muscle, with presence. One that would make any opponent think twice before trying to send another message with a blindside hit.
Caitlin Clark was getting hit a lot. She was getting hit a lot early and they needed their Charles Oakley. You've got that in Sophie Cunningham.
And at the core of this strategy was a single, burning question. Who would set the tone? Who would be the first to step up and say, "Not on my watch"? The answer arrived with black belt credentials, a lethal jump shot, and a chip on her shoulder the size of Indiana itself.
Just think that's what they were doing in the offseason. They were trying to get winners, people who know how to compete, people who want to win, and put that together with experience, people who have championships. And so when you have that type of combination, and us kind of young bucks, I'm kind of a tweener, and then you have the vets, you know, you're just trying to be a sponge, you're trying to learn, you're trying to be good now, but at the end of the day, you're trying to be the best when it's preseason, right? And so that's why you have those vets, is so you can learn from them. They've been around the game for a really long time, and that's kind of the refreshing part about being on this team, that everybody wants to learn, and so everyone's dialed in.
Sophie Cunningham didn't walk into Fever training camp quietly. She stormed in with a reputation that preceded her: tough, vocal, relentless. A black belt in Taekwondo and one of the grittiest sharpshooters in the league, Cunningham wasn't just there to fill a roster spot. She was there to send a message, and she didn't wait long. When asked about Clark's treatment last season, her answer was 6 words that echoed across the league. "That stops now. On my watch."
I do think that everyone knows that we have something special here. I think a lot of teams have a lot of teams that are special, a lot of rosters that are special, but can you put it together? Can you put aside your agendas? Can you come into work every single day when you're tired, when you're sore, and still get something done and stack the days? And that's what we're doing. Today was tough. You know what I mean? Like, we've been going for a long time. They haven't been, this is not an easy training camp, I'll tell you that, but I think we're going to be better for it. And I think if you ask anyone, everyone kind of just feels that nice energy.
In an era of carefully crafted PR statements and media coaching, Cunningham's blunt honesty hit like a gut punch. This wasn't a player hoping to fit in. This was a veteran with a mission. She understood what was happening to Clark, and she made it clear. Anyone trying to take cheap shots this season would have to go through her first. And for the first time in a long time, Caitlin Clark wasn't alone.
I'm on year 7, and I did not believe people when they're like, "Hey, when you get old, you're gonna know." Boy, I think I'm starting to get old, and I hate saying that. But no, it's just we play fast, right? We're gonna be quick. We're a run and gun. We're a shooting team. But with that, you got to get your cardio up. With that, you have to play fast but play smart. And so there's a fine line between that, and we're all trying to get that. There's a lot of people here, a lot of different rotations. A lot of people that you haven't played with before, so you have to know where they want the ball, when they want it, their rhythm, their style of play. And so a lot of people are learning, but it's fun, right? Everyone's excited to be here. Everyone's working hard. We've had 3 really, really good days.
But Cunningham wasn't just talking tough. Her stats back up her place on the roster. Nearly 38% from beyond the arc, years of playoff experience, and a history of playing with and against the game's best. She knew what winning took, but now she was being asked for something more. To become a wall, a weapon, a warning.
What's that kind of chemistry building process been like, especially off the court?
Yeah.
Since you guys are all now in market.
You know, I don't even want to sound like this, but it's been easy. It's been easy because you have really, really great people here that want to be a part of something special. And so they're not only phenomenal athletes, but they're phenomenal people. They're out in the community. They do what's right. I don't know, we're just good stewards. And so when you're around those types of people, it's refreshing. And when I say this, I'm truly happy to be here because it hasn't been like this for my career in a really long time.
From day 1 of training camp, Sophie Cunningham made it crystal clear. This wouldn't be business as usual. She wasn't just another veteran running drills or coasting on past success. She was locked in. At every practice, her voice echoed through the gym. She wasn't barking orders. She was orchestrating, calling out screens before they happened, positioning teammates, coaching while playing. Sophie wasn't just blending in. She was building a wall around Clark with her presence alone.
Anytime you play with the GOAT of our team, or the GOAT of our game, you're going to learn a lot. You know, you have to be ready for the ball, head on a swivel at all times. And the way that she throws the ball is a lot how DT threw it. I think this is just the younger version of her, so she has a little bit more energy, a little bit more spunk. I miss DT in her prime, but doesn't mean she wasn't great when I played with her. But honestly, at the end of the day, everybody can shoot, right? If you're cutting and you're open, you're going to get the ball. And so you just have to be ready for that. And I'm excited for that. And I think you'll see 1 through 5 is interchangeable.
And it wasn't just noise, it was impact. Cunningham's situational awareness allowed her to act like a human radar system for Clark. She'd shout out danger before it arrived. Screen left. Watch the cut. Backdoor coming. For a rookie who had been forced to constantly watch her back, this was a game changer. Now, Caitlin could finally play free. No more flinching at every pick. No more paranoia that the next hit would go unseen. Sophie had her 6.
I'm so grateful and blessed to have my time out in Phoenix. I met a lot of cool people. I had a lot of great teammates. I learned a lot, had a lot of great times, but just a new era for me, right? A new system, a new type of energy. And so, of course, I'm excited for it. I'm happy to be close to my family. I'm excited to have my teammates. So I'm started to even get close with now. And I think we're going to be lots of friends. And so, I don't know, it's a new vibe and I'm happy.
More importantly, this presence wasn't passive. Sophie was diving for loose balls, throwing her body into screens, knocking down threes while staying ready to go chest to chest with anyone crossing the line. She was doing the dirty work and the highlight work, all in one. This wasn't just a vet showing leadership. This was an enforcer building a culture.
We have entered Indiana Fever training camp day 3, and Sophie Cunningham is killing it.
While fans watched the on-court fireworks, something deeper was happening in the margins. Between drills, in film sessions, and during team meals, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham were becoming more than teammates. They were syncing. Their conversations weren't casual, they were calculated, discussing defensive reads, timing cuts, understanding where the ball needed to go and when. It was chemistry born from intent. On the court, that connection translated fast. Clark began finding Sophie on spot-up threes without even looking. Sophie started reading Clark's movement like a book, knowing when to set a screen, when to clear space, and when to simply stand back and let the rookie cook. But it wasn't just about gameplay. It was about trust. The kind of trust where a look or a nod replaced entire play calls. That trust became the foundation for something the WNBA hadn't seen before, an offensive and defensive duo where one empowered the other. Sophie gave Clark space and protection. Clark gave Sophie the ball and belief. It was the perfect storm, one ready to engulf the league.
She sees the Indiana Fever putting Sophie back in that 3 position, so she sees her having like more of a breakout season than she'd had at the Mercury, having to play a position that wasn't exactly natural to her. But watching the footage, it's kind of crazy because I see Sophie Cunningham now as being able to play the 1, the 2, the 3, and with her experience over at Mercury, the 4. Sophie Cunningham at the 1 as the point guard, you're crazy, you say, but no.
But Sophie wasn't the only muscle the Fever added. The front office wasn't interested in a one-woman security detail. They wanted a squad. And what they assembled was nothing short of a fortress. Natasha Howard arrived with 3 championship rings and a Defensive Player of the Year title. A walking trophy case with a mean streak and leadership presence that demanded attention. Her presence alone raised the bar.
Okay, so we have Sophie with the ball. She's running it up the court. She's directing traffic. Nice pass over to, what is that, Jalen? And look at that pass over to Lexi, cross-court pass. And she seems to have evolved as a leader, like talking to everybody in the huddle.
And run, like make them run. Like we need to be quicker than that. Okay.
And it looks like they were just kind of testing out Sophie as a point guard at times.
Then came Brianna Turner, dubbed by teammates as the no-fly zone. Her back-to-back all-defensive first-team honors weren't just decorations. She was the last line of defense, the eraser of mistakes, the anchor in the paint. And if that wasn't enough, DeWanna Bonner added her legendary basketball IQ, mentoring young players while making veteran decisions that changed the outcome of scrimmages. Suddenly, Caitlin Clark wasn't surrounded by hopefuls. She was flanked by champions.
I could see Sophie just coming in for a few minutes a game and, giving Caitlin Clark a rest or anybody else a rest, starting at the 1, migrating over to the 2, whatever. She seems to be able to do it, and she isn't looking bad while doing it. She's confident. She's hitting her targets cross court, and there is more footage showing her spotting up so she can still go over to the 2, to the 3, to the 4 even, spot up at the wing and knock down a 3.
What started as a plan to protect one player quickly evolved into something more, a full-fledged identity. The Fever weren't just stopping the bleeding, they were building an army, one that didn't tolerate physical play against Clark, one that made opponents pay for every bump, every elbow, every flagrant. The message was clear. You touch our star, you answer to all of us.
It's going to be Caitlin Clark flash show, Caitlin Clark flash show. So it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, like you said, that have a good vision on the court, because that's like as soon as she gets the ball in her hand, she's throwing it up because she already see the person down the court before she even get the ball in her hand. So that's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I really can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all the assists that she needs.
With the threat of cheap shots off the table, something incredible happened. Caitlin Clark unleashed her game. Her passing, once hesitant and reactive, became electric. She began threading impossible assists through traffic, finding open shooters in the corner, pushing the pace and controlling the tempo. This wasn't just good basketball, it was surgical.
Talk about you on the court. Like, what sort of attributes do you think you're going to bring, and where will you add to the Fever from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think I'm really just like a calming presence. I feel like I never get too high or get too low. People are like, why don't you smile more? Why don't you get excited? I'm like, I'm just chilling, I'm vibing. Like, I feel like I'm really an observer, but I am really competitive as well. I like to run the floor, like to play defense, like to win, and I think the Fever was a place to be if I wanted to win.
The spacing created by shooters like Cunningham made defenders panic. Hedge too hard on Clark? Sophie makes you pay. Sag off Cunningham? Clark lobs a dime to the cutter. It was a pick-your-poison scenario, and the Fever offense thrived on it. The ball movement was fluid, the confidence contagious. Every possession felt like a puzzle the defense had no time to solve.
What excites you the most about this team that you're going to be joining?
I mean, they have dynamic pieces in CC and Kelsey Mitchell and AB, Lexi Hall. I mean, they have a great core, so why not just add to that and try to take us to the next level in the playoffs. They were in first round, and I played against them in the first round, and the way they came back the second game, it just makes you excited to, okay, I want to be a part of that. They didn't lay down and quit. They came back and actually try to beat us really, that next game.
And while Clark's offensive numbers climbed, her mental game leveled up too. With veterans clearing space and watching her blindside, she didn't have to fight two battles anymore, one against her opponents and one against fear. Now she could focus on the only thing that ever mattered, hooping at the highest level.
It says the Fever depth without training camp rookie contracts. At the 1, Caitlin, Sophie, Sid, Kelsey. At the 2, Kelsey, Lexi, Sophie, Caitlin. At the 3, DB, Lexi, Sophie. At the 4, Flash, Bree, Dantas, DB, Sophie. And at the 5, AB, Dantas, Bree, and Flash. Don't see Sophie at the 5.
What makes this moment in Indiana so special isn't just the talent, it's the culture. Sophie Cunningham didn't just bring toughness, she brought philosophy, mutual respect, on-court accountability, and a locker room vibe that screams, "We've got each other." She made it clear, this team isn't just a collection of individuals, it's a unit.
But they are having fun. Case in point, Sophie and Caitlin are two friends that need to be separated in class for talking too much. That's actually become a meme online, like the Caitlin dancing.
You could see it off the court too. The Fever weren't just talking about chemistry, they were living it. Team dinners, gym sessions, study film, jokes, late-night strategy talks. From rookies to vets, the team was locking in, and the results were impossible to ignore. Plays became crisper, rotations tighter, reactions quicker. Cunningham even started calling out screens for other players, not just Clark. That level of investment transformed the team from hopefuls to contenders. The vibe is no longer protect Caitlin, it's protect each other. And when you build that kind of family, you don't just win games, you change the league. The Indiana Fever didn't just evolve, they became a blueprint for the modern WNBA. The Indiana Fever have compressed a 5-year rebuilding plan into one offseason. That's not hype, that's precision. They've brought in champions, enforcers, scorers, and thinkers. They've surrounded their franchise player with protection, experience, and chemistry. And it's working. Every practice, every preseason game, every viral clip shows a team that's no longer afraid. They're ready. Caitlin Clark no longer looks over her shoulder. She looks ahead. Ahead to the playoffs. Ahead to rings. Ahead to a legacy that's just beginning. And Sophie Cunningham? She's not just a sidekick. She's the backbone, the voice, the edge that makes this team dangerous. Together, they're not just playing basketball, they're rewriting what it means to be a rookie and a vet. So the rest of the league better be paying attention, because this isn't just a comeback, it's a reckoning. The Indiana Fever aren't just defending Caitlin Clark, they're defending a new era in women's basketball, and it's coming fast.